wasn't a great way to start it because it's just now the audio people are just gonna hear like silence. But
I think they'll be all right. Silence for 10 seconds. I mean, do I freak out when that happens in my own life? Yes, but on the podcast, I'm not worried about them. They'll be fine.
imagine just like,
They'll find a way to stay strong.
oh my god, imagine like 10 seconds of complete silence. I don't know if that's like actually, well, actually that is possible if you're in a,
Is 10 seconds
you're
of
in a-
complete silence possible? Of course.
if you're
it
in
is.
a, if you're in a, if you're in one of those sensory deprivation chambers. I've always wanted to try those. Have you ever? What? I don't think I've ever talked to you about those. What do you? What's your opinion on those? What do you think about those?
I think that I would be willing to try it twice. Once, just getting in. Well, because once maybe I'd want to do it just on its own, and then the other time I'd want to try it on like, drugs or something and give it a shot. But
So you know what's
I
interesting?
I would more rather do it on the drugs, but I feel like I would have to try it without as well, just to kind of get a baseline idea of what the deal is.
See, that's interesting because I've heard that you get like, I mean, I've
Yeah,
heard
yeah.
situations where you basically hallucinate already, because just the sensory deprivation, like just after a while causes you to causes your mind to hallucinate, which is so interesting. So, and yeah, that's I kind of want to try it out. Part of me feels like I'd love it, and then part of me feels like I would fucking hate it. Cause
Yeah.
cause the thing about cause I started meditating like a while ago, and and I drink kombucha and I meditated. No, but no. I'm kidding, but that even though I'm kidding, I see your face and you're just like,
You're not kidding.
what do you mean?
Those are things that you do, and I'm glad that you enjoy doing them. But it's also like you were made in a lab designed to build
I
the
just started.
quote unquote perfect white person.
I hate that. I hate that. Don't
I
say
know,
that.
and that's part of the programming.
You know what's funny? On the show, you described me as a white woman. So now I'm just a white person. Just
Yes, you
I've
are
evolved.
absent of gender, which again is part of it, is part of the process. Oh yeah, big swig.
Guess what? Oh, I bet you can't guess this flavor.
Let me think.
It's not the last one. It's not mango turmeric.
Okay.
I'll let you look at the color. That's the color.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna say that it is pomegranate and flannel.
The first one was like, I was like, oh, is he actually guessing? And then, um, it's raspberry lemon ginger.
Mm.
Just
That's
as,
not, I mean,
just as disappointing.
well, is it pretentious? Yes, but it's not as pretentious as turmeric.
Turmeric.
So that's pretty. Oh boy, look at me.
This is 3 flavors though.
Look at my kid that I put in a 3-piece suit because I only had a child so that I could post pictures of him on Instagram.
I couldn't hear any of that because I accidentally.
Well, maybe that's a good thing. It wasn't like insulting. It was just more of.
Oh my god.
Maybe it was.
I don't know. What were we talking about? Oh, this sensory deprivation. So really quickly, then we got to get to the show. Part of me thinks I would hate it. Part of me thinks I would love it. But since I started meditating,
I don't think you would like it.
Well, that's the thing. I like meditating. I'm fine with like 10 or 15 minutes at a time. But this is the thing. Meditating, like the whole part of the process of meditating is like there's still like an environment around you, so you're accepting the sounds and everything around you.
Yeah.
So like, if I feel like it'd be a lot different if I basically did that in a deprivation chamber where I am not getting any environment around me, basically. But this is the thing. Is there actually no sound in it? Because of the ones that I'm thinking of, there's like water. There's like a little bit of water. And you like kind of float. So like, aren't you hearing a little bit of water? Or is that maybe...
But your
maybe...
ears are probably also submerged, so...
You're really not hearing anything.
Like, there's always going to be sound. It's just going to be at a tone that you're basically not registering. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the only way to not have sound is to like go into the vacuum of space. Like
You're
there's
right.
That's even true. When you are with the ears underwater and nothing else is moving, you know, it's going to sound a little like silence, but really it's just a very low kind of, you know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah. That is true. That's crazy, dude. Yeah, I don't know if I'd like it or hate it. It depends how long I also did it. Like, I wonder how long I could do it. Like, I wonder if I would lose my mind after, like, 5 minutes or if it would take a little longer.
Well, you got no clocks in there. You got, I think,
no, exactly.
You lose all sense of time. And
no,
stuff, so
for sure. That's the thing. Well, no, but that's the thing. Like, I wonder if, like I... Oh,
I got you.
Like, my perception... I wonder if my perception of time, like, after 5 minutes... Like, if I would just be like, okay, like, I this is, like, too much. Or if it would take, like, an hour. And then, like, I don't know. But I think it'd be interesting. I've thought about it before. If there was a way I could do it for free or not a lot of money, because I'm pretty sure they're, like, not the cheapest. If it wasn't, like, super expensive for some reason, I would, like, give it a shot. And, like, there was one readily available to me, I'd give it a shot.
Go wheel it out.
But it is interesting. I don't know if I would want to do it on... I'd have to try it the first time without anything. But I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to... I think I'd already be losing it without any outside influence. So, like, I feel like if I was influenced under anything, it would maybe make the situation worse. But I also know that that varies from person to person. So I also think... Because a lot of it's the mindset, right? So, anyways, that's our talk about sleep deprivation chambers. Welcome to Film Juice, the show where we talk about... Did I say sleep deprivation? The show where we talk about sensory deprivation, sleep deprivation too, because we all got it, and movie news and movies, all the like. You know, I'm your host, Joe Dorado.
I'm Andrew Canada, and I co-host this podcast with podcast host Joe Dorado.
As well. If you noticed by reading the title, it's a special episode today. Special episode in the fact that we're not doing 2 movies. No, we're doing 1 movie. But it's a big day. It's a big day because we've kind of... This has been a hyped up movie for Film Juice and everyone else for a while. Good hype and bad hype. The Snyder Cut. And we're only doing...
Justice League. I mean, yes. Everybody knows, I'm just saying.
And we're only doing the one because it's a 4-hour long epic. And
yeah.
It's yeah, if I'm being honest, any movie longer than Return of the King, ooh boy. It's interesting, that's for sure. That's my opinion on that. This might be the longest movie I've ever watched though. Like, just like in one sitting. Like, I don't think I've ever watched a movie longer than this. Like,
you ever see
like what? Like, if you can name me a movie that's longer than this that like people have watched. I know there's movies longer than this, but like, a famous movie.
Yes, Gone with the Wind.
Is that longer than? I thought that was 4 hours. Because I've seen that movie.
I think it's a little more than. I think it's like 4 hours.
Really?
I don't have my other notebook.
Well, now I'm gonna look that up.
It's like 4 hours and how many minutes?
Now I gotta look that up. I think I have seen. I haven't seen that in years, but I have seen it.
I knew this guy. Here's a story. Here's a fun story for everyone.
We like stories.
I knew this guy, and he.
It's almost 4 hours.
It's less. It's almost.
Yeah. Wow.
Not even quite as long.
Wait. So, is Dances with Wolves 4 hours?
I don't think so.
That's a long one. I remember. I'm gonna look it up, and it's not even gonna be that long. I remember it being long. That's 3 hours and 56 minutes. Jesus
Wow.
Christ. Dude, I think this is the longest movie I've ever watched in one sitting.
It's a long one.
It's really long. I'm trying to... There has to be another big one that's... These ones are basically 4 hours, but, like, this is... Technically, I think this is the longest. You're going to say a story.
Oh, so just speaking of Gone with the Wind, I knew this guy who, like, smoked crack for a while when he lived in New York City. And people smoke crack, Joe, okay?
No, I know. I know. It's just
it's
like...
It's not good, but they do it.
Oh,
so
God.
This guy would, like, smoke crack at... he and, like, these other guys, they would meet up at this one person's apartment, and they would all go there to smoke crack. And it was, you know, a very shabby place. So they would smoke crack, and they would watch movies. The guy only owned 4 movies on VHS, 3 John Wayne movies, and the other one was Gone with the Wind. And it's so long that that movie is in like 3 different VHS cassette tapes. So they would smoke crack, and they would put the first tape in, smoke some more crack, and then take the trip, take it out, and they would just watch Gone with the Wind. And they would also, he said, they would like, when they were on crack, they would draw these pictures, and when they were drawing them, they were like, these are amazing. This is bringing out something in us that is just incredible. And then they would, you know, come down from their crack high later, and they would be like, this is what a child would throw up on. Like, this is just like stick people. And we thought it was the Mona Lisa.
That's crazy. Oh my God, that is a funny
crack
story.
Is whack.
You, dude, your life, the people that you know, some of the people, like the people, like some of the stories you have are like some of the best stories, and I truly mean this, like some of the best stories I've ever heard, and like, yeah, I've heard some good fucking stories come out of your mouth before. Like, you have some good ones, and almost a lot of, and some of them are very shocking. They're all entertaining though. Damn, that's crazy. That's so funny.
It was weird. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like yeah, I used to smoke crack.
I used to smoke crack. There's my signature
bit.
Yeah, there's my signature Mulaney bit. There's my I have to do it once an episode. There's a John Mulaney bit somewhere sprinkled in there. So there's that one.
Yeah.
There's the signature Mulaney bit. I used to smoke crack. Oh my God, that's so funny. Is that Dean Cain? Okay, I'm done. That one makes me laugh a lot. Okay. Oh my God! If I didn't have you to keep me in check, I would just keep going with all the bits.
You're actually in a sensory deprivation tank right now, Joe, and you've lost your mind. And this is what it's like. Jesus Christ! You look like one of those fucking creepy old clocks. That was very scary.
I don't know why I'm telling this story. Oh, I shouldn't tell this story. I guess we should go to movies. Yeah, we should probably just go to movies. Sorry to break the suspense. Oh, you're disappointed. You wanted to hear it.
I mean, if you want to tell it, you know.
Well, that just reminds me of, recently I've had to do, I've been trying to just get more into, just keep myself going on, photography stuff and do that, right? And so, but I don't really have anyone, any subjects to work with right now. So I have to, just do self-portraits, which I hate doing self-portraits. And I'm trying to get better at it, but I do not enjoy doing those. But it's, it keeps me doing creative things, so I'm trying to just suck it up. So, anyhow, there's this one that I just did. Well, I didn't just do it, but I did it 2 weeks ago or whatever. And I posted, the stuff from it already, which you might have saw. It's me, it's the mirror shot. Anyways, I have just so... I think I told you about this the last time I did a similar shot, which was 2 years ago. And it was the same mirror. but it was the one with the blood, and I was like doing that
Yeah.
shit. That one was another similar experience, but basically it's a very weird experience where I literally like I lock myself in the bathroom and I just blast music like super loud. I have this playlist for it. I have like a special playlist for like different like moods or whatever. Like whatever the photo shoot's like going for. So I blast this playlist. I lock myself in the bathroom and I'll like sometimes I'll get drunk, like sometimes I'll just like stew in there and then just stare in the mirror. I'll have the camera set up ahead of time. And I'll just stare in the mirror, and whenever I'm like ready to do stuff, I'll click the button and it'll like do a countdown of 10 seconds, and I'll just fucking do weird ass poses and faces in the mirror, and like they progressively like just get like crazier and crazier. And I just have hundreds of these photos, and I only posted like 10 of them. I have hundreds of these photos of me just like doing weird shit, like it's a weird experience. So that's kind of like similar to like it's a very weird experience. And
it's similar to smoking crack?
No. It's similar to like it's not similar to that. I don't know why I brought it up. There was something that like clicked that I wanted to bring that up.
I know why you brought it up.
Because
everybody please go and check out Joe's photography. He wants us all to see it. It is very good.
Because you were talking
because
about
the eye thing. That's right. Yeah.
So like sometimes I'll look back on these and I'll be like, Jesus Christ, and I don't post them. I'm like, what was I doing? The one where it worked really well though was that one that I posted like years ago where I was like acting like I was supposed to be acting like that. But I always wondered though, I always think to myself like, thank God, like I can't imagine like I would never be able to do this like in front of someone else. Like if someone was watching me, I couldn't like just like slowly like try and like get into that headspace. Like it's already.
I think you could do it.
I could, but part of the reason why I think I can just do like whatever, literally like anything, is because there is no judgment other than myself, and I can just turn that off. So like,
though, people honestly don't care about other people. You know what I mean? That's a good
point.
Like,
like in the way that,
like if you were to do that in front of somebody,
mm-hmm.
I know you'd be like, oh my gosh, like there's a person here. Not even that the thoughts would even be as articulate as that, right? It'd be more of a feeling, kind of like almost subconscious, but very present.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not thinking about you at all.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, that's true. Because I actually did like recently, I did this photo shoot outside, and those ones I'm still editing, but it was nice outside a couple days ago and it was sunny, so I was like, okay, I'm going to take advantage of this. So I did a photo shoot outside, literally in my parking lot, like in front of this trash area. But the trash area wasn't in the shop, but it was in front of it. Anyways, there was just people like walking by, like throwing their trash out, and like it was still like not my favorite, but I just like was already out there and doing it, so I was like, fuck it. Like,
I gotcha. You're just putting too much pressure on yourself. I think you're like, I want this to be so good that you kind of like project that onto the people that are just around,
Yeah, and also like, it's also just like embarrassment. Like I said, I hate.
Yeah, but the embarrassment, I think that does come from, again, you just putting too much pressure on yourself because you want to be so successful with what you're doing, but you got to relax because it's just going to be what it's going to be.
Because I hate
and also people kind of want you to succeed. I'm sorry to interrupt you again, but just to finish that off, like people, if people are watching you, like they want to see something cool, so they want, and if they like, I'm not talking about like you do a backflip and you take a photo mid backflip, but I'm just like, they want us the product, like they want you to succeed with the product,
I would like to think so. But anyways, that's me working on self-portrait stuff and not hating them. But anyhow, Motivation Hour with Joe and Andrew. Let's get into this movie news. So we got some cool movie news this week. I'm excited to talk about it. Let's let's do the small potatoes first. So first things first, Falcon and the Winter Soldier came out today, which when you guys see this it'll be a week from now. So actually the second episode will be out probably by time well, actually no, the second episode won't be up by the time you watch this, but it'll be close to the second episode. Anyhow, reviews came in and it looks pretty.
I haven't seen them. Didn't want to look.
I didn't read them.
Checked to make sure, but saw that they were pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't read any of them.
I went on to Disney Plus to make sure that it was out today. And you know what I like? First episode, 50 minutes, okay?
Ooh.
We're already making progress, you know? WandaVision first episode was like 23 fucking minutes or something like that, which I get that was like, you know, all the people that like want WandaVision, which I'm convinced that a bunch of those are just bots that like, not bots, but like people that Marvel paid for saying like good things, like the things about some good things about WandaVision.
I thought you liked WandaVision. Oh, wait.
I did, but some of the stuff.
Oh, yeah, because the finale was pretty divisive, I heard, actually.
I think the whole show was divisive, but yeah, we won't get into that really.
I haven't watched it, but I think this one,
I think you know I got high hopes. So
what's funny is I had such, if I'm being honest, I think we talked about this, but I had low expectations for this one, like lower than WandaVision. Yeah, because WandaVision was like such a unique concept just from the trailers.
Sure.
So I was like, okay, like this could be really interesting. But Falcon and the Winter Soldier, those trailers did not impress me one bit. They were all like the most bland trailers I've ever.
Just very generic. Generic.
They were like they reminded me of like the Black Widow trailers, which I also felt were very generic. So like, and also that one scene like annoyed the fuck out of me at the end that they showed at that trailer, and you liked it, but I didn't like it. I just thought it was stupid.
What was it? Do you remember?
It was the one where Anthony Mackie, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they're both having a staring contest, and like the guy, the counselor or whatever, is like, seriously, and it's like, I don't know, it's just a dumb like, it was just something.
I don't remember.
It was like
that.
super.
It does sound
like,
dumb the way you're describing it, but I'll say
you liked it when I brought it up, so yeah.
So I think that yes, with those first trailers, with like all the trailers for the show, they've been very focused on the action, as if the action is the selling point. Last week they released a very short clip that was just the two characters talking. I forget what they were talking about. I think it was like vampires or something like that, but it was really funny.
Okay.
And that's the selling point for the show.
Yeah.
Is that so? I think that they have known that the whole time, and then for whatever reason they wanted to show a bunch of action, maybe because that's the way to get people involved who maybe aren't as familiar with these two characters, and their relationship is definitely shown well in the movies, but it's not, you know, been expanded and flushed out like it's going to be in this. So I feel like a lot of the big Marvel fans are obviously a lot more familiar and very excited to finally get to see this relationship blossom.
I'm more excited now that I see that it has positive reviews. I was completely ready for it to get just meh reviews, at least right out the gate. Because same with WandaVision. WandaVision had a very similar thing where, like, the first few episodes were, like, I don't know, people were very hit and miss on them. But, yeah. So I'm excited to watch this one too, and I think they're both great actors. Like Anthony Mackie, especially. Like I love his work.
He's the
and
man. He is gonna shine so much in this show. Like what he does with this character is phenomenal, and like for that character to finally be front and center in the spotlight, I mean, it's gonna be big. It's gonna be really cool.
I know he was only gonna have that one season probably just because that's how the show works, but like I'm still upset that like Altered Carbon season 3 isn't gonna be a thing. Like that's a bummer.
Well,
I know that he probably wasn't going to be in the third season anyway, but
Yeah.
part of me was hoping that for season 3 they were going to actually bring all the old Kovac sleeves in, and they were going to like do something with like, so there was going to be the new one, Anthony Mackie's, and then the first one. I thought that would have been sick. And the OG
And
one.
the original one.
Yeah. So I thought that would have been so cool if they like ended it like that, but I don't know. Like just for like a fight or something, like a final fight, and then like they all die. But I don't know. Anyways, that show is great and very underrated, I think. But anyhow, so that's that news. Next bit of news, Loki. New poster for Loki came out. And the release date is officially June 11th. Which is soon. Pretty damn soon.
That is soon. That's cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's I mean, it's not a crazy, I'm not even like, the poster isn't up on the screen right now. It's not a crazy poster. It's a cool poster, but it's nothing crazy. It's simple,
I think
and I
that
like
it
that.
does definitely tell us though that a lot of the theories were correct. Like it seems, well, at least it gives us more fodder to, fan the flames a little of these theories that Loki is involved somehow, whether he's been captured already or on the run from some kind of interdimensional time police or something like that.
Yeah, because the clock in the background, and yeah, it's gonna be cool. I'm glad the character is back, but not because of like he didn't actually die in Endgame, because that would have been stupid.
Right.
Like.
Yeah, you got to find a new way to bring him back to life.
Yeah. Well, but like, yeah, no. This at least like makes sense because it's a different timeline. Like it's not like he's just tricking them again. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's what you were. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah. So, and obviously Tom Hiddleston's the man. So that's gonna be great. And Owen Wilson's in it, which I am very excited to see how that turns out. That dude, I didn't even recognize. I told you this, but I did not even. It took me a second to be like, that's Owen Wilson, like, because he has gray hair, and like, I heard his voice and I was like, why does that voice sound so fucking familiar? It's Owen Wilson. It's fucking crazy. So yeah, I'm excited about that. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. So June 11th, and then we got one more before the last thing. But Game of Thrones announced 3 more prequel shows. I think they're shows. I guess it only says prequels, so maybe they're not shows. Maybe they're movies, but it sounds like, I don't know. Maybe they're not. Maybe they are movies. I don't know. But it says prequels. 9 Voyages, which follows the voyages of Lord Corlys Velaryon. 10,000 Ships, which is about the warrior queen Princess Nymeria, who founded the Kingdom of Dorne. And Flea Bottom, set in the slum district in King's Landing. The more I hear about Game of Thrones news, the more nervous I get.
Nervous? I'm not nervous. I think that they are just not going to be super worthwhile to like some of these shows maybe will have pretty solid first seasons, but I'd be very surprised if, I mean, maybe one of them will go for a few years, like 5 or something, 7 maybe tops.
They're throwing them at the wall, man.
Well, it's look. This sounds a little harsh when I'm thinking of it, but it's kind of embarrassing, just that it's so transparent what they're doing with just trying to capitalize on the phenomenon that was Game of Thrones, and instead of just letting a great series lie and trying to do other things. I think that they are just HBO, their whatever their development, whatever. I think they're just very nervous that they've got nothing, and so they're trying to kind of revamp the greatest hits.
I still think that Last of Us is gonna. I think Last of Us is gonna surprise people. I hope it does. I want that series to be like the next big thing because it definitely has the potential to be, but we'll see. It reminds me also of what Disney's doing with Star Wars. They're doing a very similar thing. And I'm not saying like I'm less excited.
It's a good point.
It's not that I'm saying I'm less excited for Star Wars stuff, because there are a few Star Wars shows that I'm very excited for, like the Ahsoka show. There was a couple more that escaped me because there's so many, but there were definitely a couple more. But the issue with that as well is, I think I said this when we talked about it, but they're also just throwing all this shit at the wall, and just seeing what sticks. And I definitely don't think they're all gonna be big. I think some of them are only gonna last like a season and then be done, which is fine. But I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know. I just want that. I want that Old Republic stuff. Just give me the Old Republic stuff. That's all I want. But anyway.
Yeah.
But we're gonna be waiting for a long time for that. But yeah, that's what we got for that, and we got one more thing of movie news, which I think I'm more excited to talk about than you. In the Heights. After a year, I looked it up. It was a year since the last trailer. After a year, they released 2 new trailers, which is weird. Usually, they weren't like 2 small trailers either. They're like 2 full-length trailers, and they're different. And they released them the same day, which was very strange. They also released a bunch of posters, which all look awesome. I really like the style they're going with the posters. But anyways, other than the new trailers that came out, just to tack onto that, just today they announced that the original release date is getting moved up a week to June 11th, which is the same day as Loki. So that's kind of interesting. I don't think there's any correlation there, but yeah. So that's gonna be cool. I want the movie in my veins. So let's get it.
It's interesting that they have moved it up to the same date as Loki, because obviously what we're going to be talking about here, the Snyder Cut, which came out for us, just yesterday, the day before the Winter Soldier and the Falcon released.
Yeah, that is true. Maybe.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's what I'm saying. They're kind of continuing a little competition in the mix. That's what it seems like.
See,
which is a bold move. But
yeah. That is interesting. That is a bold move, because you're splitting. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. What were you gonna say? Yeah.
Look, man. I'm sure this movie will be very good, and a lot of people like it. It's just not for me. That's
crazy.
No, it's not, Joe.
It is.
Some people don't.
Dude, I've
care
seen
about
you
musicals.
I've seen you like and watch musicals, though. You said the same thing about Hamilton. You said the same thing about... Well, actually, I think we've talked about this, but you liked La La Land from what I remember. I know you didn't love it, but you liked it.
I liked it for reasons that we don't have time to get into on this podcast.
Okay.
But that movie was very interesting.
Okay. But... And, like, you like the old school musicals, and obviously I know this isn't
I like Singing in the Rain.
Is that the only old school one? And Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz, yeah, but I guess that is a musical, but I block out all the...
the songs. Yeah, you're right.
I guess.
You're right. That's crazy.
And what's that one? Oh, West Side Story.
West Side Story.
That's a pretty good movie.
So this is the thing, and we kind of like Grease. So like we reviewed Grease and we both gave it like positive reviews. So this is the thing. You said that about Hamilton, so I do have hope.
It's just so much like.
It's like West Side. Like, it reminds me. It reminds me.
Here we are.
Oh my god! It reminds me a lot of West Side Story.
I'll tell you what, though.
Already with some of the
just because it takes place in this city and there's Puerto Ricans in it, Joe. Come on,
No, but
it's
okay.
much. It's its own.
I know
thing.
it's gonna be its own thing, but yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what does look cool. First of all, the dancing, the choreography
Yes.
looks like that's going to be sick.
The costumes.
And the way that some of these numbers are going to be shot looks awesome. There's a little tease for a public pool thing. There's something where our one of the guys is walking up a building.
Yep, that looks sick.
That looks like that's going to be really cool.
The shots look incredible. Like, they look so good. And, like, this is the thing. This is why I have a feeling this one might surprise you, even though I know you, like, secretly have this vendetta.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Even though you have this secret vendetta. And it's not even secret. This low vendetta for Lin-Manuel Miranda is... I think... I'm not wrong. You've said it many times that you like.
I know, but and I've had to think about it many times. You know, I think I've said some things that I probably regret or take back, but I do think that like he's obviously he's a very I suppose genius could be used. He is a super hardworking fella, but I feel like if I had to hang out with him, I would just pretend to fall asleep.
Wow, that's crazy. I love that. I love that take. But all I'm gonna say is, this just. Because this like, I think I told you this, but this music, for people who are listening who may not know, this In the Heights is a musical that, this was actually his first Broadway musical.
Yeah, but Hamilton was so successful that we need to get some more money so we can make a movie out of this.
But In the Heights was super successful and won a Tony. It won multiple Tonys, and it won Best Musical that year. It obviously wasn't as big as Hamilton, but, like, in the theater world, it was huge, like, when that was out.
That's true.
I also don't know...
I think that it's like, with the success of Hamilton streaming and stuff, I think that definitely, even though that was, like, the recorded version of the stage show, I think that it definitely, what we're going to see is that, and probably this movie, revitalizing the musical the way that some people thought La La Land was going to do, the movie musical.
Yeah, I'm excited. It looks cool. Yeah, I'm excited. You know what also it gives me vibes of? Just like filming wise, Hairspray. Little bit of Hairspray.
I never
vibes.
saw Hairspray.
Hairspray's kind of cool. It's not like my favorite, but it's pretty cool. They have like some really cool parts in it. But it gives me like some Hairspray vibes too. Like, along with West Side Story, with how, like, the shots are. But yeah, so anyways, I'm very excited. Put it in my veins. The music's great. I love the main character who got... Oh, God, I gotta look up his name, because I always butcher his name, man.
Usnavi?
The guy who plays Usnavi in the movie.
Oh, okay.
He played... I don't know if you recognized him, but he played...
Of course I recognized him.
Okay. Yeah.
He was phenomenal in Hamilton.
Yeah.
He was really good.
Well, some cool fact. He was the one to replace Lin-Manuel. He played this character on the stage performance after Lin-Manuel, because originally, just like Hamilton, Lin-Manuel Miranda played the main character in The Heights.
Surprise.
But then, obviously, once he stopped playing it, eventually, Anthony Ramos, that's his name, Anthony Ramos, took over that role, which it looks like it's going to be great, so I'm excited. Actually, there's a lot of overlap in the cast between the Hamilton original cast and the In the Heights original cast.
You could see a lot of folks.
Yeah, like the guy who plays George Washington is like was in it. He's a cameo in it. Yeah, he doesn't play the same character, but he's a cameo. Same with Lin-Manuel.
He doesn't play George Washington in this?
No, I meant he doesn't. You know what I mean. Anyways,
he's the Washington of Washington
Heights.
Oh God, that was bad. I'm so sorry. Washington Heights. Washington. Heights. Put a
Yeah,
little accent on there.
yeah. There's a little accent on there. But anyways, I'm excited. And it's gonna be really great. I'm just hyped to hear the music and stuff. I hope it's good. I really hope it's good. I hope it's not a Greatest Showman situation where it's like okay, and like there's some really good musical numbers, but it's just okay, and it's very like.
I think that this movie.
I think it's gonna be better. But
Yeah, I don't think that this movie is. I think that there's going to be a very real core to this movie.
yeah. It looks like it's gonna get intense, and I purposely don't know the story of it like too much because I want to like experience like the film like so I'm excited. Anyhow, that's coming out soon, and we'll see how that is. And I think that's all we got for movie news this week.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, buddy. Well, we got some crazy shit. It's happening. All those will sees have built up to this moment. We
correct.
have seen
Yeah.
the past tense, and we're gonna talk about it. Yeah, we're gonna talk about it right now. There's not gonna be, just to clarify, there's not gonna be we're not gonna show the trailer for this one because just we don't. I don't know. If you haven't seen it, you haven't seen it. But yeah. So, but the poster will be up if you haven't seen the poster. So, anyways, for all you visual watchers, video watchers, why did I say visual watchers? Anyways, take it away, Andrew.
Okay. Let me steer this cart back onto the tracks, if I can.
Oh my god.
Let's go back to 2017.
Oh.
Justice League comes out into the theaters. Remember those?
Remember
And
those days?
it was a film that in production had been plagued by a few things. Obviously, Joss Whedon came in and took over after Zack Snyder had to leave due to those awful circumstances. And the movie, oh man, was changed quite a bit, it would seem. So then, when that movie came out, and a lot of people really didn't like it. Some people did, but mostly I would say the reviews were not exactly what you'd want, especially at that time for a movie in the superhero genre, right? Because even though it's not a Marvel movie, it's a big superhero movie, and we need, we're used to those being a certain way. We're used to those also being very successful. So they had a lot going against this movie. As soon as all these reviews came out and things like that, whisperings started to happen that there was this cut of the movie, this director's cut, this Snyder cut that had been completely broken down and just flipped, basically decimated by the studio and whoever is making these decisions at Warner Brothers. And at first, everybody, Warner Brothers included, everybody was like, no, bless you. It doesn't exist. It's not real. It's a myth. Stop asking for it. But people on the internet were relentless. Then things started to pick up steam a little bit. And I remember this distinctly. Jason Momoa tweeted that there was, in fact, a Snyder Cut, that it was real, that he had seen it, and that it was fucking awesome. Then the world explodes with COVID. Things are everything's crazy. So it's like, why the fuck not? They want to do a big rollout for HBO Max. So it's announced that, yes, there is a Snyder Cut. They're going to do a couple changes. They're going to be maybe some reshoots. And it is going to be released in its entirety on HBO Max. A look at what Zack Snyder originally thought a Justice League movie should look like. Something that he felt was going to be worth fan expectations. Something that was going to be worthy of the Justice League itself and these incredible characters that so many people love. And now it's finally here. It's 4 hours long. We've seen it. and it is very interesting.
Yeah.
So, to get right in,
Yep. Let's do it.
it's twice as long as the original. The original cut released in theaters was 2 hours.
Yes.
So, starting right down to the bones. The way that this movie establishes um, the characters, establishes basically every story element is so much better.
Yes.
Definitely a big part of that is because they had the time to with this extended cut, you know. um but it just made it so much more enjoyable. And I'll tell you, the perfect example was Steppenwolf. We get to see in this movie a side of him that is, briefly, but adds so much to the character. We get to see this guy's fear of Darkseid and his longing, what he's fucking doing, all coming to Earth with all these parademons, what he's actually in this game for. He's not just some like evil crony. I mean, he is an evil crony. That's not. He's not just doing it because he's a terrible person. He's doing it because he's afraid of Darkseid. I mean, he definitely wants to be doing what he's doing, I think, but like his motivation is flushed out, and that made that character a million times better. And that happens with just about every character in this movie,
especially Cyborg and Flash.
Yeah, for sure. Who obviously got, because focused on the Trinity in the Justice League movie, people that were going to get their own solo freaking movies and stuff, which Flash was going to, and it is apparently still going to happen. But everything with that original cut was just so rushed, and this one, with the time, this was the only way I think that this movie could be done right, was to make it at least like 3:45. You probably could have, even if this cut could have cut a little bit out, but I think the only way for this movie to have been successful in 2017, with everything that had been leading up to it at that point from Warner Brothers, from DC, it would have had to be this long, because that was the number one thing that we all said about the DC universe at that time, was that they're rushing things. They're jumping in to try and catch up with Marvel. It's not like this was the best superhero movie we've ever seen, but I'll tell you what, it was really good, and getting to see all of the elements flushed out, it allowed, at least myself, as an audience member, to get a better understanding of, I think, what they wanted to get across in the first place, which is that there can be different types of superhero movies. And that's what this is going to be.
Yeah. Yes. It's, oh man, it's so interesting. We obviously have time to talk about it, so we're gonna go through it. Because this is the only one we're doing today. So I guess first things first. I don't know where to start necessarily, but I guess this is something I want to ask. I have a lot of notes. This is something I want to ask. How'd you feel about the 4x3? I know it's like not a huge. I'm just curious.
It was. I got used to it very quickly.
Yeah.
So that wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
I don't know how much it really added, though.
I know. It's weird. I get, you know what? Like, this is literally what I wrote. I said 4x3 is weird, but whatever. I literally wrote that. Because, like, it's weird, but, like, it doesn't really change anything. Especially, like, when you watch it on a big enough screen. Or, like, not even, like, if you watch it on anything but your phone, if you watch it on your phone, it's going to be I think it would be a little bit more odd. But when you watch it on, like, a TV screen, it's not that big of a deal, because you're getting, like, I don't know. The only time I opened it up on my phone at first because I was like just curious how it was gonna look, and then I was like, oh, this is like crazy. So then I put it on my computer, and it was like so much better. Like so, it definitely like the only time I like think it would be a weird thing would be on the phone, um, which doesn't really matter. So yeah, that's it. So I just wanted to bring that up because that's that's something that we were talking about before, and I was interested to see how that would work. But yeah, it's weird, but it doesn't like change anything, and you get used to it. There's some scenes that I think it works really well with. Some of the shots, like you can tell, I think with some of the shots that he did like this is the aspect ratio he wanted it like shown in, because he shot it full frame. So I think that's really interesting because a lot of this movie is close-ups, which was the original movie too. Like a lot of the original is close-ups too. That's a lot of like what Zack Snyder does. So I think this kind of format emphasizes that a little more. So I do kind of like that when you have those close-ups. It kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but maybe you know what I'm talking about. When you have those close-ups, for some reason it just like seems, I don't know, with the format it seems like more seems like you get more out of it. I don't know why. I don't know how to explain it, but with the close-ups I thought they worked really well with the 4x3. But yeah, the 4x3 wasn't a huge thing either way. But yeah, I thought that was super interesting. You could tell though by all the shots that this, especially after what Zack Snyder said about like how much he loves IMAX, you could tell how much like he wishes it was shown in IMAX. Like just by these shots, dude. Some of these shots, especially in the beginning, I gotta say, and most of these shots were in the original Justice League. Most of these grandiose ones.
Mm-hmm.
But some of them are new, and dude, like these shots are still pretty damn like fantastic. Like some of them look really good. They nailed some of them. And also there are new shots that they nailed like really well that are like just like, eye candy. I think Zack Snyder just loves eye candy a lot. And I think he goes a little bit too into it sometimes, like with the slow-mo. The slow-mo gets grating after a while. After 4 hours, that slow-mo starts to I don't know if you felt that, but I was getting a little tired of the slow-mo every 2 seconds.
It was just so present. But you know what? I kind of knew as soon as we got into that, because these action scenes are pretty long and they're pretty cool.
Oh,
but
yeah.
with that first Wonder Woman one,
mm-hmm, that one,
like just in that scene, there's so many moments where it goes back to slow motion.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, oh, okay. There's probably going to be a lot of this throughout.
Yeah.
And there was.
Aquaman, just Aquaman, like in the when we first meet Aquaman, and literally just Zack Snyder milks like this one Aquaman scene where the water is just like crashing on the dock and it's just like spraying in his face, and it's literally just it's like 3 different shots of Jason Momoa just surrounded by water in slow motion, and there's like no purpose other than for it to look like, oh, that looks cool. Which is fine, but this is the thing. This movie's 4 hours long, and when I see shots like that, I'm like, this movie does not have to be 4 hours long, but it is 4 hours long, so whatever. I just, like, some things like that, it just, like, after enough of that, it just gets grating. Not saying it ruins the movie, but, like, those are some things that, like, I guess I'm just trying to point out some of Zack Snyder's style gets very tiring after 4 hours. I don't know if you felt that, but like, this is the thing. I watched this movie. I watched the whole thing in one sitting. I don't know if I recommend that. I do not think, after thinking about it more, I think I recommend taking it in parts. I'm not saying like just watch one part at a time. I don't think that's necessarily what you should do, but like either split it up in halves or watch like, I don't know, just use your own discretion.
Yeah. I think that'll have to come down to personal preference, because had to go back and watch the final half hour
Mm-hmm.
after I'd watched the rest of the movie, and I would have watched the full 4 hours with no problem and
Yeah.
enjoyed it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess that's just personal preference
I
at that
think it
point.
is
I mean,
too.
it's
I
gonna
was
be
just
there, so I guess if you are watching and you decide you want to take a break, go for
yeah.
it.
I was getting like restless as hell like
It's a
at some point.
weird, uh,
Hmm.
kind of, I guess, sort of criticism that I have is that like
Yeah.
there was a lot of music in this movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think they used the score way better than the original though. I remember the score in the original being awful, and I did not think this score was like as bad.
I'm talking about, just to be clear, like um when Lois is uh like on her own or whatever right at
Oh,
the beginning, and then
yeah.
it happens during that Aquaman scene. There's just like this.
Oh, dude,
There's
he
just
loves
so
this
much
epic.
music.
He
There's just
loves
so,
the epicness. He loves it.
but it's all different kinds of music. I was just like, there's a lot. Like the music is
Yeah.
just so. It was
Present.
a little just overwhelming because it would be for sometimes these very long periods where, not much is really happening on screen.
Yeah. Did he? You know what? This is something I should know, but I'm gonna look it up right now. Did Zack Snyder do Man of Steel? Who did Man
Yeah.
of Steel? Okay, I was gonna say because he definitely, yes, that makes a lot of sense. Because dude, and this is the thing. This is a hot take. I like Man of Steel. A lot of people don't like Man of Steel.
I don't think that's a hot take.
I think Man of Steel is a fun movie, and I just I said this on the show before, so I'm not going to go on it too long, but I love this version of Superman, even though a lot of people like think he's too dark. I really like this version of Superman. I like Zack Snyder's but what I was gonna say is he does the same thing in Man of Steel, where like there's just so much like Zack Snyder's style is just like there's like crazy music and like these crazy moments, and like I'm not saying it's good or bad, it's just like that's just literally like if you watch any of his other movies, it's just like he is crafting these epics. Like that's what, and that's fine. And you know what? One thing I got out of this movie that and I won't like go too much into this cuz like this is more for the end. But one thing I did take away from this movie, and that I appreciate, whether you like this movie or not, I think it is very prevalent and obvious that Zack Snyder cared about a lot about this movie. Not only did he care about this movie and care about these characters, but you could just tell, you could very much tell the authenticity that he was putting forth in this movie, especially when the end happens. Like I don't know. Like when the epilogue happens, and then there's like, and then once the credits start rolling and you hear the music, it's like, and you know, like kind of like what this movie like also, because the movie like kind of is dedicated to his daughter. So there's like you could just tell that this was a movie he cared a lot about. So I really, really like that added a lot for me. Like just being able to tell that, I don't know, it's important to know that like I like when you can see authenticity in a movie from the creators of it, and you could definitely see that when there was not any of that in the Joss Whedon cut.
Yep, I completely agree. That's something that was sorely lacking from the when that came out into theaters back when. And yeah, I mean, it just makes a lot of difference. You can see it on screen. You can see it everywhere.
Oh yeah, it's great. That's my favorite part of the movie, is even though there are a lot of flaws in this movie still, my favorite part of the movie, of this cut, is you can just tell that that this is like something that the people who worked on it cared about, and like it's not like they just threw all this shit at the wall, and it's like they tried and they succeeded in a lot of areas, and they failed in some areas, but I think for the most part, like they made it into its own thing, and it's enjoyable to watch. So yeah, I do appreciate that. Because I think that matters as a fan, especially of these characters. It definitely matters to see that. Especially after Batman v Superman, which Snyder also did, but I hope after watching this I'm like, okay, maybe he... And also, you don't know how much of that was studio, too, so... But anyways, this is a much different movie than that movie, and it's a lot better.
Yes.
A lot better.
Okay, couple things, but I'll save that. So,
yeah.
One thing that I want to mention is a big thing, again, with this movie originally, and even in the trailers for this movie, I think, was the CGI. I talked about the CGI a lot, especially because it was so obvious that a lot of the backgrounds were going to be just completely, blue screen, whatever. It really did not bother me very much when I was actually watching it. And as far as the CGI that we see up close, like the costumes and the Parademons character, the mother boxes, that sort of thing, it's not like it looked phenomenal, but there was just so much of it, and they were asking it to do so much. Like the way that those mother boxes moved, and that movement was sort of incorporated into Cyborg's armor and Steppenwolf's and all that sort of apocalypse technology. It's a lot to ask for a CGI, artist or just the program to do.
You know what's funny, just to add on to that, I actually wasn't even, when you brought up CGI, I wasn't even thinking about the mother boxes, because the mother boxes are obviously CG, but I actually thought the mother boxes looked like really like good. Like the things that stood out to me were like these weird like moments that weren't in the original, and like you could tell like they like there was a lot of Superman moments, because a lot of these Superman moments were not in the original. So if not most of them, and they're all better. They're all better than the original. All the Superman moments are so much better. But there's this one scene in particular, and there's multiples of these, but there's one in particular that I remember where it's when Superman takes flight again for the first time, and he goes into like space or whatever. That part, the CG stood out to me a lot in that scene. There's just some parts where you can tell that they did not have a lot of time. I don't think they had as much time to polish the CG as they probably wanted. I think there's moments like that stood out to me.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you are correct. But like I said, all things considered, it could have been a lot worse.
Oh yeah, for sure. It doesn't ruin the movie, but like, it definitely pulled me out of it a few times, especially because this is the thing. I wanted that moment was so, specifically that moment, that Superman moment was so cool. Like, I loved it. The build-up for it was great. It literally is just a callback to the Man of Steel moment. And I thought that was awesome. I thought that was so cool. And then it happens, and it was great. And then right when they do the full CG part, I was like, oh, man. Like, it immediately pulled me out of it. And I was like, damn. Like, I wish I wasn't, like, fixated on that part of it. But other than that, like, it doesn't ruin it. It just, like, it definitely, like, I think it took away from some of the big moments, but for the most part, it didn't, like, ruin anything. I don't think it, like, was that bad. I thought it was going to be worse like you did. Like, I thought it was going to be way worse, but it was not bad. Most of the CG actually was pretty damn good, and it worked. Especially in that last fight scene. Because that last fight scene is literally... They balance it out well. Because I was like, man, I just remember the last fight scene is literally nothing but green screen. But the last fight scene is only like, what, 40 minutes? Or 30? They spend like 30 minutes in that last area, I think. 40 to 30. And that's... So, for 3.5 hours, you're actually in real places. Like, the sets are there. You're not... The only times you're in full green screen places is that last fight scene and Themyscira. And even some of Themyscira, I think, is real sets. So, like, it's... They balance it well enough that I don't think it actually, like... Since this movie is so long, it doesn't actually, like, really I don't know. It didn't really stand out to me as much as I thought it was going to.
Yeah. Speaking of Themyscira,
Mm-hmm.
Wonder Woman, that first. Actually, I should go back for a second. I apologize.
Okay, go back.
I just want to say, there were so many, even very little things that this movie did so much better than the first one that added a lot more. Like, for example, just showing early on Steppenwolf setting up his base at that nuclear plant, establishing that setting for him. It only takes a second, and it made the threat a lot more real. It made him more intimidating. He's like, or something like that. Like, okay, this guy's got a plan. Like, there's something growing here. So there are quite a few little things like that. That's the one that comes right off the top of my head that make this movie just a better movie. But speaking of Themyscira and that sort of thing, the Wonder Woman intro with the bank stuff, that scene, excellent action sequence, I thought. And that scene was better than all of Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah.
It was.
Yep, and they also added to that scene because that scene was in the original. But like,
this version of it was spectacular.
Oh yeah, because we didn't get any of the buildup with the bad guys. We didn't get any of that. Like, this is what happened. When that whole thing was happening, I was like, oh my god, I was like, are they introducing another new villain? Like, is this going to be another, like, new villain in the movie? Because I completely was unrecognizing, like, what was happening. And then they did the bank stuff, and I was like, oh, that's right. This is the Wonder Woman, like, fight. And I'm like, so this isn't, like, a huge villain. But they're establishing it like that, and that's great. Because they should do that. It makes it more of an interesting scene. So they did that, and even, like, we've talked about this, but, like, side characters are important to establish, too. Like, even if it's just... That's another small thing. Like you said, just adding them arriving in the cars takes 2 seconds. Yeah. It's like, why don't you just do that? The scene where they take out the security guard. At least just let us know where we are. Like, zero context.
Like, look, we understand what's happening as an audience. Like, we're able to figure out, like, we've seen a lot. But... to just kind of to make it look like you didn't just throw it together.
Yeah.
You know, like it wasn't just an afterthought. To take some time with it, that makes a big difference.
So it was that was great. I agree. And you were talking about I cut you off a little bit. You were talking more about the Wonder Woman scene. But the only thing about that scene I will say is like you said, the fast to slow motion I thought was overdone in that scene a lot.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
And the CG with her body was just strange.
Yes.
That was apparent. But there's some really cool moments in that scene that they still did really well. I really like the one, I will say, the one part where the slow motion and the fast motion I think work really well is the one where she's blocking all the bullets, like, against those people. That scene's great. I just wish they took it out of the other parts where it wasn't necessary. I think in that part it was necessary, but in the other parts it wasn't as necessary. And then she just goes, boom, and it's, like, so good.
And also, she blows up the building in that.
Yeah, moment. That is like true. She blows
seemed a little counterproductive. But yeah, I mean, in that moment, they just established very early on, like, this is just going to be the stylistic choice for the action scenes, and it's going to be a very strong choice. And the action scenes, you know, across the movie as a whole,
so much better.
I thought they were really cool. Yeah, definitely so much better. They were extended, and also I don't remember there being so much, like, alien blood.
Well,
in the original.
they added not just alien blood, but actual blood, because this is rated R. The original is not rated R. Yeah, this is rated R. That's why they said fucking, like, shit so many times. Not so many times. Yeah, they said fucking shit a few times. Like, Batman said fuck a few times.
I only heard it once at the end.
Yeah, so no, they dropped it they dropped, like, multiple swear words a few times, and all the blood. So yeah, this version is rated R.
Yeah, some of that shit was actually pretty gory.
No, yeah, wild. It was great. Like, this is when I realized. I was like, oh, so like this is like definitely different.
Yeah.
Is Themyscira when Steppenwolf just is literally sawing people in half. He is cutting people in half.
Oh,
He's just
man.
like, whoa.
How about the extended version of like the flashback kind of thing where we see like Darkseid's original?
Oh my god.
That scene was
I can't believe,
awesome.
dude. I watched this movie and I'm like, how did none of this Darkseid stuff make it like there are like it's not like, and this is the thing, when I was originally thinking about this movie, I was like, man, I wonder if Darkseid is literally just going to be in like 2 scenes. No, they have quite a bit of Darkseid lore and stuff with him. Like he is the villain. He is in the well, he's like, you know, the overarching villain.
He's certainly present, and his presence is felt. And I think a part of that again is because of how we establish, or how the movie establishes, Steppenwolf's feeling towards Darkseid. Like you can tell that Steppenwolf, the thought of Darkseid like crushing him and stuff, that thought is always looming over him, and so that reaches itself out and spreads across the things that he does in the movie.
Yep. And the Darkseid scenes are not just like 2 seconds. Like that one first flashback is great, and then there's a premonition one with Cyborg that is incredible. Oh, dude, this was shown in the trailer, so I don't even think this is like a huge spoiler. When we see Darkseid use the laser, the laser that goes, because that's exactly how it's used in the comics and the video games. The
ultra beam or whatever.
Yeah, it just goes in whatever, he can control the direction, so it just goes crazy. When he does that, and like he's, you know, it's awesome. I was like, that is
so cool to see.
That was so sick to see. I wish they actually didn't show it in the trailer, because it would have been way cooler if it was the first time to see it.
That's true. But Darkseid was, his presence was intimidating.
Yeah.
I loved the look. I don't know, man. Him? He was. It's not just that it was cool to see him, but he was really cool.
No, I'm trying to think who played him, because obviously he was like unrecognizable because of like the CG.
Who knows? I don't even know if it was someone, you know,
someone
who we would know.
Yeah, you're right. I don't.
In fact, I doubt that it was.
Darkseid voice is Ray Porter. Yeah. Yep. Wow. They don't even have like, I don't even know if they used the like actor for the.
Sure.
Yeah, and then Steppenwolf
was
just
a mocap person, probably.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, so wild. So yeah. Also the Steppenwolf armor, it was a great change. That armor is so sick.
It really grew on. Like when it didn't even grow on me. It's just like the second we actually saw it in the movie, not just the still. Yeah. It was like, yes.
It's just like, cool. It's always moving. It's alive. It like works with his body. And when he gets like really angry and the spikes come out, I'm like, oh, this is sick. This is like such cool like design. I like that he can like choose like where it forms on his body too. I will say, this is the thing. Zack Snyder's color grading is very different from Joss Whedon's color grading. And Zack Snyder's films, like Man of Steel, had very similar color grading. I know I keep bringing that one up, but it did. Like, those movies, like, look similar. So, I understand it's his style. Like, it's kind of, it's not, bland is not the right word. Muted. It's a muted, like, color grading style. And, like, I like it because, you know, I like that he's, like, you know, if there's one thing you can say about Zack Snyder is he's making choices. Like, it's not like he makes choices. And I appreciate that he goes all in on a lot of these decisions, whether they're good or bad. Like, it's admirable. But the muted color grading is just not really my thing, and there are some scenes where, like, it does look very flat and not very dynamic color-wise, but I understand it's just the style. I will say, when we get to the last fight scene, that does change. And I will also say that when there is color, it is emphasized because of the muted, like the muted tones throughout the rest of the film. So there is like reason for it. I just like, I do think like specifically the Themyscira stuff does look a little flat still. But
Yeah, and again, I think part of that is because like when we're on some Themyscira in the beginning, like the lighting for that is very strange.
Yeah.
Like the sun is like it's hard to, it's not golden hour, but it's
No.
hard to tell whether or not, and not by any means, but the reason I relate to that is because you can't really tell if the sun is setting or rising.
Yep.
And because again it's like so much CG, it's weird. It's very weird.
But yeah, the Themyscira scene was way better. They added a lot more to it. They made it way more intense. They made it so much
awesome.
It was so much better to watch. Like Steppenwolf, just like the fight, I don't know how much they added to that scene, but I don't remember it being anything like that. Like I remember it being a little like that, but I do not remember it being like that intense and that like enjoyable of a scene. But yeah, so I love that scene. And they also added like more Wonder Woman stuff with the arrow. Like that wasn't in the original, was it? I don't remember that being in the original. The arrow part. With the arrow on fire thing, so that was cool. And yeah, I don't know. There's some cool so they added some stuff there. What else did they oh, I guess we should probably talk about the Cyborg and Flash shit.
Yeah.
That's the biggest stuff easily. That is honestly what made that was the biggest change for me, and I think that's going to be the biggest change for it. Adds so much because before, especially with Cyborg, I think Flash. Because this is the thing, Flash's character, even though we didn't get a lot of like, there is a lot more added for him in this movie, even with the regular Joss Whedon cut. Just because Ezra Miller is so charismatic, there is just like you still like like.
Can I touch on that real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
So yeah, we had in that original cut a very distinct idea of who Barry Allen was still. But this was my criticism, I think I heard it somewhere, was that he seemed to just kind of be like, you know, so much of that. And with his extended scenes and things, you know, there's just an added depth that, because you know me, I fucking love the Flash. That's my favorite guy. And with that added depth, it helped me as a big fan accept Ezra Miller's take on the character so much more easily than originally.
Yeah. It was so yeah, I agree. It was really good. They added a lot more depth to both of their characters. One in the way where they made the Flash like more three-dimensional because they gave him like an actual like more of a conflict. And with Cyborg, we just got in the first movie we didn't get anything with Cyborg. It was like literally we got nothing. Like that is the biggest difference in this movie. Like you get to like because the thing with his dad happens in the original, correct? Like the sacrifice happens, but like you don't even know who he really is like in the original. So like it doesn't matter at all. It didn't hit me at all. I didn't give a shit when that happened in the movie.
It raises, because it makes this movie almost makes Cyborg a central part of the plot.
Oh, he makes for sure.
And because at the end, just like in the original cut, he is the one going into these mother boxes. Because we understand who this guy is and how he became Cyborg a little bit better, and the family dynamic, all that, there are real stakes now when he's trying to bring the mother boxes apart.
It was so good. It was really good. And like the dad, his dynamic with his father was really well done. It was fleshed out a good amount.
Yeah, I agree.
Everything with it like was very well fleshed out. The football scene was sick. I will say I like the football scene. I I thought it was cheesy as hell, and I also thought it was like way over the top, but I still thought it was shot really well. It was cool. That's the thing that's tough about Zack Snyder is like he's so over the top in so many ways, but like it's also cool as hell to look at most of the time. So it's like I don't know. It's like it's a balance. But yeah, so his stuff was great. And the Barry Allen stuff was great. Dude, that I wrote it in my notes too. This made me want a Flash movie so bad. Mm-hmm. That one scene wanted that like could have been
the scene with Iris.
Yep, that literally could have been a scene with like in the Flash like solo movie.
That was pretty cool.
Oh my god, it was so goddamn cool. That scene is probably my favorite. I'm gonna say it. I think that's my favorite instance I've ever seen like speed like used. Like I think it's hot take. I think it's better than the Days of Future Past Quicksilver scene, and I also think it's better than I guess that's the main one actually. That's the main one that everyone talks about. I think it's better than that scene. I thought it was amazing.
Ooh.
Cause that scene
they're very different.
They are very different.
This, oh man, they're so different.
Yeah, they are very different. This one like was so. When he touches the glass and it like, that was
fair enough. That was really
sick, cool. And like the way he like, and there's like comedy in it too, like just like I don't know, it was just really cool. I really liked that scene. I liked that like the context around the scene. It was great. It was really cool. So. That was my favorite scene in the entire movie, actually. Easily my favorite scene in the whole movie. Yeah, it was great. If you only watch a part of this movie for some reason, watch that part. That's in my opinion, the best part of the entire movie. Because you can watch that scene without knowing anything else, and you'll still, like, fucking think it's sick. The stuff with his father was great that they added. I think that was much needed. I was interested to see what backstory they were going to go with. I'm actually interested to hear what you think about this. How, like, because the Flash has multiple backstories. Like I feel like Barry Allen has multiple backstories, right? Like he doesn't just have the main. Does he only have one backstory?
Yeah. So here's what happened. Spoiler alert for some comic stuff, I guess.
Because I've watched the show and they do the same thing in the show. So like.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if he had different ones.
No, well, I mean, no, it's just because there's, I get that because there's a lot of time travel involved typically with the Flash, but no, the backstory is for anybody that doesn't know Barry Allen. He comes home one day and his mom has been murdered and they're arresting his dad for it. Mm-hmm. So then he becomes he dedicates his life to becoming a forensic scientist. And so this is what is different. At least, well, we don't know for sure, but this is what it seems going to be different. In the comics and everything, he's a forensic scientist, and then a bolt of lightning strikes the office that he's working in, and the electricity and all the chemicals. It's very superhero-y. They crash onto him and give him that super speed. Mm-hmm. So I mean, we know that Ezra Miller's Flash has obviously been very invested in forensic science already, though he has not had a job officially in it yet. So maybe he still was like in a crime lab somehow, like just checking things out, and then it happened. Or I don't know, you got bitten by a radioactive cheetah. We don't know. We don't know for sure yet.
And like, I guess I don't want to spoil this for people who aren't familiar with the character, but all I'll say is the person who they did hint at a little, they hinted at like,
I think we should spoil it.
Okay, they hinted at who killed his.
Oh, I didn't catch that in the movie. In this movie,
maybe not. I thought they did.
I didn't catch it
because, like,
what happened?
Well, isn't
Reverse Flash?
Reverse Flash
killed.
Yeah. So I thought
which is just they didn't actually.
I
That
thought.
was never true until 2006 because
Oh,
that's when they revealed it for the whole history of the Flash. Before
that's
then, of Barry Allen's
nuts.
Flash, which started in the 60s, Showtime #4 or something. But yeah, and then in 2006 it was
I
like,
guess they didn't specifically allude to it, but when they mentioned that, like, when they were just going through the whole thing where he's in jail and stuff, I was like, oh, like, if they did a Flash movie, Reverse Flash would probably be in it. Like,
I don't know, because somebody that they did allude to, and they did it. It was in the original cut. Also, was Gorilla Grodd, of
oh,
course.
that's
So.
right, they did. Yep, he's another huge one. Yeah. So anyhow, the Flash stuff I think is great. Um, and the Cyborg stuff was also great. It made me care about those characters way more. It made me care about the Justice League more. That's the thing. I fucking actually cared about the Justice League, and not only that, it was believable that they actually got together. In the original, it's so rushed that it's like, I don't believe that this is what would happen. Like, they take their time to get together. They don't get together until halfway through the movie, I think. And Superman doesn't even come in. Superman in the original comes in, like, way earlier. In this movie, Superman doesn't come in until almost the fucking end of the movie. Like, well, not the end. He comes in, like, a little past halfway. So, all I'm saying is, like, there's so much more investment in this film. And obviously, it's 4 hours long. But it makes it work. Like, it does. Like, it makes the movie matter a lot more. And it makes the, like, it just fleshes it out so much more. So, yeah. And, like, I don't know. I know people, I don't know necessarily if it had to be 4 hours. Like you said, I think it could have been probably trimmed down to 3.5 hours. But if you're going to release it on HBO Max, you might as well just give them the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I mean, the whole thing behind this was that it's Zack Snyder's.
Yep.
This is his vision played out, so it's as long as it needs to be in his eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Except for just an interesting thing here, I kept seeing, because the thing that I was most excited for in this movie was all of the extra stuff, right?
Yes.
So we do get to see Martian Manhunter at the very end,
and
I thought that. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that Green Lantern was going to.
I was gonna mention this too. Yeah.
Yeah, be in the movie. Because I know they shot stuff about it, and then yesterday I see a Zack Snyder quote saying, "Yeah, there is Green Lantern stuff, but
yeah,
Warner Brothers didn't want to." Still, even with all this, was like, "Nope, not Green Lantern, baby. You can go do your thing, but you can't have the Green Lantern stuff," which fucking blows. Because
they like alluded to some Lantern stuff, but they didn't show the
the Lantern stuff, because obviously in the original we did see in that flashback there is a Green Lantern present, and in his extended screen time in this movie of that old Green Lantern is awesome. It's so
really cool. Especially in that
so cool.
Especially in that flashback when we see the, not to spoilers anyway, when we see the ring like fly off, and he almost gets the ring, because didn't he almost get it? Like Darkseid almost got it.
Hanging out there for a second.
What if Darkseid became a Lantern? What? That would have been crazy. I actually don't know if that's possible, but that would have been kind of cool.
Well, it's complicated. Yeah. We don't need to get into it.
The Lantern stuff is very complicated. But yeah, speaking of Green Lantern, this is random, but Ryan Reynolds was actually, this is a thing, I don't know if you saw it, but he just watched the Green Lantern for the first time and live tweeted the whole thing, which I thought was really funny.
Wow, it's awesome.
Yeah, I can't believe it took him this long to watch it, but I guess it makes sense. Like, why would you want to, it makes sense. Trying to think of Martian Manhunter. Yeah, that was cool. I definitely think the way the conversation about Green Lantern and Martian Manhunter was brought up, that they were gonna like fit a little bit more in the movie.
Yeah.
But Martian Manhunter definitely did not fit as much in the movie as I thought he was going to. If I'm being honest, his introduction is a little shoehorned in my opinion. it just didn't feel. I liked that he was in it, but it just didn't feel like very fleshed out. Like we don't know anything.
This is are you talking about like when he introduces himself at the end?
No,
Like that? Okay.
I just thought like when they showed him in that middle part, which was great. I just thought we were gonna get a little bit more just about him and how he knew about stuff, but I don't know. I know like it's a 4-hour movie, so I'm fine with them not adding more. But like, I don't know. Just I guess I wish it just wasn't built up for me. Like I just thought.
No,
I
understand. More. I think look, it did. I think just about. I mean, I guess I can only speak for myself. I felt the same way. I felt like they was gonna be a lot more present, without a doubt. But
yeah. But
what are you gonna do?
The stuff that he is in is cool. Especially that middle scene. I thought that middle scene was really That was that was nuts. So, and that's like, yeah. So, also, the black suit, amazing.
Yeah, phenomenal. Spectacular.
People who think that that doesn't make a huge difference need to watch this movie because that for what it represents made a huge.
Everything.
It was. I cannot emphasize enough how much better every single Superman moment is in this movie. Every single
That's an excellent
Superman moment. They flesh him out so much more in this movie. All the farm stuff almost completely cut out in the original cut. They kept it all in, or most of it in. Like, it was so much better to like be with him in that moment, like, and have that be more fleshed out. Like, the Lois stuff and the Martha stuff fleshed out was great. It was just so much better. Everything with his character arc was so much better in this movie. I actually wish there was more of it. Like, I'm also a little privy to that character, but I do think there was even more room for more Superman in this movie. But I understand, like, it also made it way more of a better payoff when he was in the movie. So I actually understand why he wasn't in it as much as like he could have been, because when he is in it, especially at the end, that's like some crazy fan service. And fan service has a negative connotation sometimes, but I mean it completely in the most positive way. I thought it was fucking awesome, dude. Oh my god. Because did we get that was him in that last fight scene like all new, or was just some of it new? Because I don't remember. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, he was there.
No, I remember he was there.
In the original cut.
I remember he was there, but I don't remember the specifics of him like doing that stuff to.
Oh yeah.
him.
I think that was all
new or in it. Yeah, because the laser eyes and like that was nuts. That was so. That was awesome. It was awesome. That was worth the hype. That scene was pretty fucking cool. And some of the CG in that scene wasn't my favorite, but it didn't matter because it was so cool. It was so cool. Obviously the scene with the least amount of changes, I think, was the scene with Superman like fighting the Justice League. That scene had basically
there were some. That was a moment where it felt like, okay, the studio, everybody knew that this scene worked pretty well when it came out, because that was the part where, with the eyes, right?
Yep.
That's the part that everybody was talking about after that, and it's a great part. So they're like, okay, this is something that we know that this scene worked out pretty well, so.
You know what I think was extended in that scene, though, and I will say, because I don't remember it being extended in the last scene, is when literally Superman, spoilers again, where Superman laser beams Batman, like full on, like shoots laser beams into him for a while. Like, I remember it a little bit in the original, but I think they made it like more extended, because he takes off the gauntlet and then he gets laser beamed more before Lois comes in. I don't remember them doing the close-up on Batman's face of him being so defeated.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Like, I would have remembered that. It would have hit.
Yeah, I think that was all extended.
Like, you see Batman just completely, like, he's letting it happen. Like, he's so crushed that, like, he he just believed, like, first of all, he regrets everything from what happened already. So he just can't believe, like he's just trying, like he can do nothing but just sit there and just hope that, like, and if he dies, then, like, he's, like, letting it happen. It was you could just see it on his face. And I'm not a huge fan of Ben Affleck's Batman, and even after the Snyder Cut, I'm still not a huge fan of Ben Affleck's Batman. I think, but this movie has better moments where it shows Ben Affleck's Batman a lot better than in the original.
Yeah,
and that was a moment
very true.
that he sorely needed in the original, that I'm glad they put in this, because it gave him way more character. I'm still not the hugest fan of him, but I think he was way better in this movie than in the original. I guess one thing we should talk about too is the things that they cut out of the original that they don't have in this movie. They cut a lot. Well, not a lot. They cut a good amount of mainly dialogue. And, like, scenes that had, like, one-liners and stuff. Because Joss Whedon is a huge, like, you know, he likes the comedy, like, stuff, which we talked about in our review, I remember. That brought it down because there's just so much of it. It just, like, it wasn't...
And it felt very out of place, too.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is the thing. I think, for the most part, it was a very good decision. There are 2 instances where I wish they kept it in. One instance, they got rid of Cyborg's Booyah. I think with all of him getting fleshed out and everything, I think that moment, because it kind of felt shoehorned in the original. But I think now that we got all this shit on him, I think it would have been cool if he said Booyah in this version. I think it would have worked.
That's a good point, maybe. But like the delivery of that Booyah was so flat in the original.
That's true. That's true.
So you'd have to, like, redo it, which I'm sure there are, like, different takes already that they did with the original.
Like,
but I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe that would have worked. I think that's a very good point. So it's possible.
That was one thing, and then the other thing, which is I think the thing you're gonna talk about that you're thinking of right now, is the Flash scene with Superman that they completely just got rid of. I understand now. This is the thing. I understand. Yeah. I understand why they got rid of it, because it was just a literal, like, gag scene at the end. And for how this movie ends and the tone at the end, it does not fit it. But I wonder if they could have fit it in just somewhere else. Yeah. I thought it was a cool scene.
Yeah, I just like that moment would just happen so many times in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
To see that on screen was really cool in the original cut. But like you said, it certainly did not fit in the ending.
No.
The way that this version went.
It would have been really bad if they tried fitting it in the ending. So I'm glad they didn't. I just wish they put it maybe somewhere else.
Yeah. You know what I'm so glad did get cut out though was the whole storyline of the family that Russian family or whatever that lived.
Oh
near
my god! I just
Stronghold.
remembered that.
Yeah.
Holy shit! I didn't even think about that. That's crazy.
Because I think
they weren't in it at all.
The plan was now. Yes, because you didn't need them to establish. Like, they did such a better job in different ways. Like I mentioned before, establishing where Steppenwolf was, the circumstances of him being there, the circumstances of in all senses. I also think that looking back on it now, that was put in there to explain why the Flash was not more present during that end fight. Right? They were like, he must be.
Yeah.
Give him something to do.
But now they gave him they replaced that with and it made it so much better that they did that.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Dude, I don't remember, some of this last fight scene, I don't remember any of it. And I think a lot of it was not in the original. Because when he got shot, I think that was in the original, but when he got shot, and, like, he was hurt. Like, he was, like, you could just feel, like, and when he was just that defeated, I don't know, like, it just made it so much more intense. Also, you know what? I don't think it was in the original, because what happened was Darkseid was about to fuck shit up. Darkseid was about to wreck everyone's shit and destroy, like, in this movie, in that moment, he was about to destroy everyone. And that vision that Cyborg saw was about to come true. And technically, in another timeline, it did. But fucking Flash was like, okay, we're gonna fucking reverse time. That was awesome. And that definitely, I do not remember that in the original. Maybe it was in the original in some aspect. I think it was. No?
I don't think so. But guess what?
Hmm.
Here's what else is coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Time travel, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we saw fucking Endgame, we talked about how time travel was a lot for audiences to swallow, at least seemingly from a studio perspective. Now that has come out, that Endgame, and we see that that's not necessarily true, that's another reason why now that was probably cut out originally and now is in this one.
Dude,
that makes a lot of sense. Wow.
I also, you know what else they brought in this movie that they didn't have in the original, or at least I don't remember it? They literally had Ben Affleck's Batman call out the fact that they literally had the scene where he experienced the premonition in Batman v Superman, but they had him in the same chair. It wasn't the same scene, but he was like, I'm feeling like deja vu.
Right.
Because it was like the same area. And I was like, I love that they called that back. Because in the end, which is the main part that I definitely will give a spoiler warning for, because that's the huge thing at the end.
Yeah.
At the end, when it comes together, Lois is the key. Lois is the fucking key. Oh my god, it's crazy.
We saw that in... Yeah, I mean...
It has double meanings in this movie. It has multiple...
Okay.
Like, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in a second.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll get right into it. Do you want to talk about that next? That whole end part?
Yes,
okay. So spoiler warning for this next segment, because this is the part you do not want to know. This is the epilogue. Basically the epilogue you do not want to know about. Because it sets up things that might not happen, sadly, and that makes me very upset.
Yeah.
But the setup, if it does happen, will be like the craziest shit ever. So basically, Batman gets this... Well, there's a couple things. Lex Luthor escapes Arkham and hires Deathstroke. And I think Deathstroke helps him escape in the first place. But maybe not. But either way, Deathstroke
I didn't get that from it.
Either way, Deathstroke is in the movie, and he is, like, hired to kill Batman. And he tells him that his name's Bruce Wayne. Which makes, as much as I don't like Ben Affleck's Batman, if we got a standalone movie with Batman versus Deathstroke, that would have been pretty fucking cool. That would have been pretty fucking cool. So I am a little bummed about that. So anyways, it sets that up. Not only does it set that up, there's a Batman premonition that was teased, but it's at the very end. And basically, it is a wasteland. And Batman is teamed up with Deathstroke, the Flash, much older Flash, which at first I thought it was Jason Todd. I thought it was Red Hood Jason Todd at first.
Oh, wow.
But it was not. It was the Flash. Because I double-checked. I literally paused. I was like, that's not Jason Todd, is it? No, it's not. It's the Flash. It's just an older Flash. The girl, the Aquaman, I don't know her name. But the girl who's with Aquaman, like in the Aquaman movie, I don't know her name, man. So she's there, and then Joker is revealed to be there. Actually be there. And there is so much revealed and so much set up. So first off, Aquaman's dead. Dead.
Superman killed him.
Yeah. Also, we're seeing Darkseid ships in the background.
Yeah.
So this is like Darkseid
invading.
ship. Yeah, invading. And there's all this talk about, like, and Batman just has a gun. He just has a gun. I mean, it makes sense in this time. So anyways, there's some context thrown around, and basically he has this whole conversation with the Joker, which I guess first thing I want to say before I go any further, Jared Leto's Joker, better, still didn't like him, but better. Still thought it was too hammed up. It was so obvious that
Definitely
he was
a lot better. I'm not going to say I didn't like it, but it wasn't the best.
No, it was. It just seemed too. I don't know. It seemed like he was trying way too hard. I don't know how to explain it other than that. It just didn't feel natural. It did not seem like a natural like
I
character.
get that a little bit, yeah.
So, anyways, basically, Batman and the Joker have this whole conversation that basically confirms that he killed Jason, which is pretty nuts. Which we kind of it alluded to, but we never like got confirmation on that. But no, Joker killed Jason Todd. Well, killed Jason Todd. But the only weird thing about that is technically Red Hood should be around by this time. So
not in this timeline, man. And besides,
yeah.
maybe he was and he got killed.
Yeah,
like,
maybe
for real again already.
Yeah,
so.
You're right. So, anyways, so that was cool. And they cut out the society line. They cut out the society line, which was good. That was, I think they showed it in the trailer to get people talking about it, and then they were like, okay, we do not want that in the movie. So they just cut it out, which I'm very happy about.
Yeah, I heard that idea was just for the trailer.
Okay, fine. Like, as long as it wasn't, I'm just glad it wasn't in the movie, because that's good. It was a very good choice to not have that in the movie. And basically Joker is talking about that it's Batman's fault because Lois was the key, and I guess they let Lois die, which is or something happened. We don't know exactly how Lois died, but he's alluding that it's Batman's fault, and that's why Superman goes off the rails. And it's really cool because this is basically what it seems to be. This seems to be the Injustice, very close to the Injustice comic line. I know there's multiple comic lines where Superman turns evil, but it seems very similar to the Injustice comic line just because of the group that is like banding to, like, Deathstroke teaming up with, like, the villains teaming up with the heroes in a sense. Oh, dude, it seems sick. I'm so upset that we might not ever see it, though. It seems so cool.
You know, they tossed it in there at the end of the movie, and that was kind of... So when the movie ended,
Mm-hmm.
and that, you know, kind of really puts the period on it, that whole sequence.
Mm-hmm.
So when the movie ended, and after that, I really got this feeling of like, oh, so, like, what happens now? What happens with this cinematic universe, with this franchise, I guess?
Yep.
And the answer is probably not very much.
Yep.
But who knows? So it was very weird at the end of this movie, which I enjoyed very much. Certainly in comparison to the original cut. And now we just kind of...
Now we just wait.
You know, maybe it'll just be, you know, maybe that movie will just be.
Yeah.
And that's that.
I think Zack Snyder will direct another DC movie in the future. I actually think that's a given. I actually don't think that's... I think he's going to.
I don't know. I think he needs to be convinced to do it.
I feel like he would want to, but maybe I'm wrong.
I just saw a quote from him earlier that said
really?
He's not like,
Oh, wow.
He's not like jumping at the idea to do another superhero movie, but that's, you know,
Okay.
I'm paraphrasing, but, you know, something like that.
That's fair.
Doesn't mean that he wouldn't.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy. It's just disappointing because if we got this movie if this was the movie we got in theaters,
that's the thing.
We probably would have seen this to fruition.
Oh yeah, for sure. And if we had seen it in theaters, like I said, it's not like this is the best comic book movie ever.
No.
But you can see how it was building to something. And I don't mean obviously just with that end part, but
Mhm.
throughout the movie, the way that we are experiencing these characters, the way that the everything kind of flows and such. Um, it's like even if it still wasn't the best, if we
Mhm.
had seen it back then, it's like at least we would have understood that this is something very unique and that there is something to build off of here.
Yeah. Yep. It. Oh man, dude. I agree, dude. It's so disappointing. It really is. I just after that premonition scene, I was like, oh my god. I literally was like speechless. I was like, if they're literally alluding to an injustice like storyline, and if they did that, that would break my brain. That would break my fucking brain if they did that. Like, holy shit. Henry Cavill is evil Superman? I would lose my shit, man. That'd be one of the coolest things to see in a superhero movie to date. It'd be pretty nuts. And this is the thing. I've talked about very openly about how I hate how they handled his character, especially in Batman v Superman. They literally threw away one of his biggest arcs. Threw it away. Um, but this watching this cut makes me feel like Zack Snyder could pull that storyline off. And I guess one of the last things I want to say about Zack Snyder's directing on this movie is I do think this movie takes itself a little too seriously, whereas Joss Whedon's didn't take it seriously enough. I think this one does take it a little too seriously. I think it's better than Batman v Superman, where that movie just took it way, way too seriously. This movie doesn't do it that bad, but that's one criticism I would say about like after 4 hours of watching this movie, I just think his style gets a little grating, and I will stand by that. Um,
Hmm.
but I still think it's really cool. And the last thing I will say before I'm ready to rate this sucker is whether you think you're going to enjoy this movie or not, if you're interested in editing and directing, well, mainly editing. If you're interested in editing, I think this movie's worth a watch. The reason why is because if you've seen the first one and watch this one, just being able to see how different the two movies are through editing is pretty spectacular. You can say what you want about the movie and whether it's good or not, but you can't deny that the editing of this movie is like really well done. It's pretty well edited. There was actually only 2 notes I had on the editing, and that's only I think the first few parts, the way they end and start the next part are a little choppy, but when you get halfway through, that it's like seamless. So that's the only complaint I had about the editing in the um in the movie for the most part. Other than that, I think, like I said, if you're interested in editing, I think this movie isn't a bad watch to see how much editing can really change a film. Um, I obviously there's more than just editing that changed this film. Like they obviously reshot and like there's it's completely different scenes, but it's still a lot of editing. So, yeah, that's what I'll say about that. And yeah, anything else you want to add?
No, I think it's a great idea to compare the editing just for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
anybody out there. And I don't agree that the movie took itself too seriously. I was really glad to see how seriously it was taken, and I don't think that it overdid it.
Okay, I
But
think just after I guess it was just I think if this was a 2 hour movie, it wouldn't have been as prevalent. It was just like I said, I think his style gets a little grating after 4 hours, but that's just me. I just
yeah, I mean, I think that that's going to happen no matter who is directing. If you have a movie this long,
that's
and
fair.
I mean, not even necessarily a movie this long, but just a movie where he basically had free range, right? Like this is
Mm-hmm.
his cut, right? So,
Yeah. Yep. So
but yeah, let's rate this thing, Joe.
yeah. Okay, I'm going first. I've been between two scores, and I'm gonna go with the slightly higher one because I think that just personally, I think this is what it should get. I will say I will probably not ever watch this movie again.
Ooh.
I don't think it's a very rewatchable movie, but I think it's good to watch it once. I'll watch it as often as I watch the Lord of the Rings movies, and I don't watch Lord of the Rings movies very often. So, oh god, this is tough, dude. I think it's definitely gonna be lower than yours. I just don't know how much lower. Than yours
I don't
it's
know.
gonna be.
We'll see.
I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it a 7.5.
Okay.
I could give it a 7. I'm between 7 and a 7.5. I can't decide whether it's a 7 or a 7.5, but I think it's a 7.5. So I'm gonna give it a 7.5.
Okay, I think that this movie, you know, as far as rewatchability goes, maybe I won't rewatch the whole thing. I probably won't rewatch it all in one sitting ever again, necessarily.
Yeah.
But there are parts of this movie that I would certainly rewatch many times.
Sure.
And it splits itself up into sections, so that's a pretty easy thing to do.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed this movie as a comic book fan, as the movie being as a redo of the original, you know, kind of like a redemption type deal. I guess you could say. I really like the movie. So I'm gonna give it 8.5 juice boxes.
Wow. Yeah, that's higher. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's definitely higher. The highest I would go is an 8. But I just think yeah, I don't know. It was good. It was definitely way more enjoyable, but I still think it's a very flawed movie. Like it's a pretty flawed movie still. The idea that they kind of had to shoehorn all of this into one movie in itself makes it flawed. So yeah, like the editing fixed a lot, but it did not fix like some of the, just some of the issues with the story and how it fixed some of them, but it didn't fix all of them because it's still at the core it's like that movie still. You just gotta. But they did enough fixing around that core that it made it a lot more enjoyable. But I still think it definitely has enough flaws that I'm gonna give it a 7.5. And like I said, this isn't a movie that I would want to rewatch. Also, I didn't talk about some of the dialogue that they did keep in. Some of the dialogue they kept in is not good. Specifically, Kal-El, no! That line still sticks out like a giant sore thumb. Oh my god.
I think that's most of the lines
that was such a bad
that
line.
weren't great were given to Wonder Woman.
I can't
and then they were only emphasized. Their poorness was only emphasized in some cases, not all cases, but in some cases, I think that the acting chops of Gal Gadot, where they are lacking, shined through.
I can't believe they kept that line in the movie. I really can't. I thought that was one they were going to cut for sure. And then I heard it and I was like, oh, I remember that one from the original because I made fun of it a lot. So yeah, that line was still in the movie. Also, but I will say they added some good lines for Batman. They added more of the I'm rich lines. Like they did the one with the Flash, which was already in the original, and that was good. That fit better in this movie. And then the line with the line at the end with Clark Kent, which wasn't in the original, I think. He was like,
"Oh, I bought the bank."
I bought the bank.
That was in
the original.
Mm-hmm.
I like that line though. It's a good line. That's a good line. We didn't talk about Alfred. More Alfred in this movie. Alfred's great. I think Jeremy Irons kills it as Alfred. And Alfred's relationship with Bruce is way more emphasized, and that's
I mean, so much for the better. It's awesome to see. And what Jeremy Irons has done in making that character his own, it fits perfectly. It's really cool. That's great.
We also it's a lot more reminiscence of the Penny what's his last name?
Pennyworth.
Pennyworth, like the Pennyworth comic line where he's just a badass, like, because he's like a
Yeah.
badass before he's his butler. So like it fits that kind of style.
Yeah.
And we didn't mention this at all, so really quickly, Aquaman's stuff is really good too. Like his extra stuff, because they fleshed him out quite a bit. Oh, Willem Dafoe is in the movie. He wasn't in the original. Like,
Nope.
I was like, is this the sequel to The Lighthouse? What? Crazy. This is what happened to Willem Dafoe's character in that movie. Anyhow, yeah, so I think it's worth the watch though, at least once. If you're
100%.
If you're interested. And yeah, it's definitely getting more positive reviews for sure.
Yes.
So that's good. But yeah, so anyhow, that's all we got for this week. I mean, we still filled it in. It's a fucking 4-hour long movie, so that's why it was, we knew it was going to take this long. So
Yeah.
we hope you guys yeah. Thanks for watching and listening as always. And yeah, let's just do it. So you can follow us. If you don't already know, you can follow us at Instagram. On Instagram at film_juice. Great stuff always posted there. And you can also follow us on Twitter at filmjuicepod. Stuff is always posted there as well. We're probably going to get started, by the time this comes out, we're probably going to be thinking about the next watch party. So that'll be on those social media accounts. So definitely check out news and information for that. And yeah, I think that's all there is to it. You can find us everywhere. If you're listening to this on Spotify, maybe check out the YouTube channel. We got we got the watch parties on there, and we got the video form where you like Andrew's doing a hilarious gag right now that you can't even see. It's pretty
I got nothing,
incredible.
Joe. So
I put you on the spot there.
Yeah.
I really did. But you know, you could have seen him flustered, and that would have been enough.
Yep.
So definitely check it out. You can see me swaying my chair like this back and forth the whole time.
Oh yeah.
And I can't stop.
Very
doing
calming.
that. Yeah, it's a metronome. Anyhow, and if you're watching this on YouTube, maybe check us out on Spotify, iTunes. We're on the Google thing. So, anyhow, I think that's all there is to it. Thanks for, thanks again. I'm Joe Dorado.
I'm Andrew Canada, and we'll see you next time at the movies.